There it was, Jerusalem, a choir boy's dream come true. Its walls and domes and towers and minarets moved along like a hymn, and the sight of it made me catch my breath. The city still has its gates as in the olden days, like the Lion's Gate. Then on down along the walls, the big Damascus Gate, turrets and all, right out of a picture book. I never saw such narrow streets. I think they ought to have been a little wider, so at least I could know which side I was walking on. There was no room for carts or automobiles, but there was plenty of traffic. I pushed through crowds of people. I dodged between lemonade dealers and water pipe smokers. I saw goats and donkeys right out in the middle of the street. Then I got a ride on a donkey. It made driving a Jeep seem like a trip to heaven. Jerusalem the Holy, a holy city for three great religions. I visited, of course, the famous Dome of the Rock, or the Mosque of Omar, as they call it, which stands on the site of King Solomon's temple. Inside the dome is the rock where Abraham prepared to sacrifice his son Isaac. We looked out on other mosques in the temple area. We saw the Mount of Olives and other famous landmarks rising around the city. They looked just as I had pictured them from the stories in the Bible. And there was the little town of Bethlehem, where David and Jesus were born. We saw the Garden of Gethsemane. Then we went down and walked among the olive trees, as old as the hills themselves. We climbed down into the tombs of the old Jewish kings. Tombs carved thousands of years ago out of the solid rock. Huge halls and rooms and galleries dug underground. I don't know how. Then, suddenly, here was a Jerusalem I never heard about in Sunday school. The big modern Jewish agency building, which is the headquarters for all the work of rebuilding Palestine as a homeland for the Jewish people. It was from this building that we started out on a tour of the land. No more walking. We left Jerusalem behind us, getting a last view at its hills dotted with ancient shrines, worn beautiful with age, and looking what they were, a part of the world's most famous history. Then we started down and down towards the Jordan River and the Dead Sea. Mile after mile, we drove down the most desolate, God-forsaken valley a man could imagine. Nothing, I was sure, could ever be made out of a country like this. We dropped until we reached sea level. Then we dropped some more, 4,000 feet altogether, until at last we reached the Dead Sea, the lowest point on the face of the earth. Near the shore, we passed a potash works, where the Jews are digging 100,000 tons of potash a year from the salty beaches. Then, out of nowhere, there was a bright green meadow, and through it walked the young leader of a new Jewish settlement. He told us about a modern miracle.
4 years ago, 150 of us, young pioneers, dug irrigation ditches through this worthless salty ground and flooded it with fresh water from the Jordan. We soaked the salt out of it for months on end. Then the clean sun-cracked earth began to push forth green blades, and the tender stalks grew up into fields of grain and fruit and vegetables.